Alright, so this will be the last of the Glocks that I own. This is my Glock 21, chambered in 45 ACP. This slide does not say USA, it says Austria. And then on, here we go, right here. If you can read that. Made in Austria, Glock Incorporated, Smyrna, Georgia. Their headquarters is in Georgia. Everything about this gun is the same as my Glock 19 that I put up previously. All the safeties are the same. Mag release is the same. And the slide stop on this one right here is only got this side. You can't change that. So 45 ACP. ACP stands for Automatic Colt Pistol, which is John Browning again. He's the one that designed that. This one is a Glock Gen 3, Generation 3, the third generation. So they had the 1, Generation 1, which was introduced in 86. And then Gen 2 was the same as the 1, but it had this extra pinhole at the top. Gen 3, this one, these are the most sought after Glocks. People love the Gen 3. And if you find one cheap, grab it up. The Gen 3 has the 2 pinholes here to take the gun down on the inside. The trigger will come out, everything in here will come out. You can't see it because I don't have it apart. And they also did the finger grooves right here. You put your fingers in to grip it nice and well. This right here is where your thumb goes. And let's see, what else can we say? It is much bigger. This is a full size. My 19 is the compact size. This is a full size handgun. So the Glock 17, chambered in 9mm, is the same size as this. The sights on this one have been upgraded. Those are not standard Glock sights. Someone changed those out. They appear white, but they might be night sights. If you get night sights, these little dots on this in the front up there will glow green in the dark, so you can still see your sights if you're having to shoot in the dark. Right here at the front, we have the rail. It's called an accessory rail. I can put a laser or a flashlight on here, anything I want. The trigger safety does work on this one. You have to depress that lever. Takedown levers are all the same. And look at the round. This is the magazine for it. Look how much bigger that mag is versus my 19. You get 13 rounds in this, and it says 45 at the top, so that you know what you're getting. Look at that round. Big old 45 ACP. This piece of lead right here is 230 grains. So grains on your guns. Grains is how they measure the weight of this lead piece. The 9mm typically comes in 115 grain and 124 grain. The most common in the 45 that it's what this is 230 grains. And she moves slow and it's big. So when it hits somebody, if you have to use it in a defensive situation, it will not overpenetrate. It will go in, cause destruction, end the threat if necessary. 9mm has more of a chance to overpenetrate, which means if you shoot someone and there's somebody behind them, you're probably going to get them too. But this thing is awesome. And the serrations up here on the Gen 3, are only on the back. They didn't put them up at the front. It just has Glock on it. And let's talk about some things when it comes to carrying a firearm that I didn't mention in my other videos here. In anywhere in America, if you're outside in public, you take this gun, you hold it up like this, squeeze that trigger and pop off a round, you will go to jail for that. That is the illegal discharge of a firearm. And if you do not have a permit and you get caught carrying one, you will be arrested. They will charge you. If you don't have a permit that signifies conceal carry and you're carrying a gun like this or a Glock 19 in your pants somewhere they can't see it, the cops can't see it, you will go to jail. And there's one other thing I was going to talk about, and it just left me. Man, I hate when that happens. But yeah, you can't conceal this. We could, but if you don't have the right permit, you're going to jail. Illegally discharging the firearm, you will go to jail. So they are a little bit strict on us about some things here in my state about owning a gun, carrying a gun. You know, they're trying to get more on us, but they're not. They're not doing too well. I don't have the box for this one because I got this one used. I bought another 9mm Glock that was a 48. And it's a 19, but it's slim. Like the slide here. See how big that is? The Glock 48 I had, it was like 3 times as thin as this is. And it held 10 rounds. And I didn't like that. I'm used to my 19 that holds 15. More capacity, you have more chance of dealing with a threat or multiple threats. So I took it to a gun store. I saw this in their counter. And I was like, hey man, I'll trade you this Glock for this 21 because I really wanted a 45. And he did it straight out. He was like, yeah, just bring me the box of the paperwork and everything and we'll do the trade. So I did that. I heard a funny story about the 45. Now, it's not really funny, but it can just show you how people aren't careful with a firearm. I heard about this guy that came into a gun store looking around. He was carrying a 45 like this somewhere on him where it went off. I think his may have been the 1911, the Colt, which I don't have one of those. I can't afford it. But I think he may have been carrying that. And he had it on him. He's walking around the store. And it went off. And he shot himself in the ass with it. And I was like, oh my God. And the guy said that owned the shop that I heard about, he said he was not touching the gun. He doesn't know how this happened. But it went off, hit him in the ass. It went through the upper part of his buttocks. It came out down at the back by his knee and smashed into the floor by his foot. And then I heard there was a detective that for some strange reason decided to pull out his 45 and just fire it into the concrete. And it put a big hole in the concrete. And then there was another guy, he had to go to the bathroom. So he goes into the stall, takes his gun off, and hangs it on the hook on the stall by this right here. But he did it this way. And he didn't realize that it had fell down and put pressure on the trigger. He had the safety on his 1911. Somehow, the safety got disengaged while he was on the toilet doing what he had to do. And the trigger got caught on the hook. It went off and shot all 8 rounds out of the gun while he was in there using the bathroom. So it's a good thing he finished his business, because if he hadn't, he would have then, you know. But man, this thing is just cool, and I got it because 45 is pretty popular. Now, if I wanted to carry this, I could not conceal this gun. It's way too big. So you'd have to carry it on your hip. like that in a holster where people could see it because it's just too big. But man, I'm trying to remember what I was going to say about it. There was something I was going to say, but I can't remember what it is. Oh, one more thing they changed from the Gen 3 is the mag release is really small on this gun. They've since widened this out and made it a little bit bigger so that you can easier to hit with your thumb. And when you push it, it pops out like that. So that's what ejects your mag. It has the same loaded chamber indicator right here. Takedown levers are all the same. Everything's the same about the Glock. And that's why people hate them so much, because there's no difference in them. They all look exactly like this. Just different sizes, different calibers. And look at that big old muzzle, man. Look at how big that is. You wouldn't want to be staring down that. Okay, this plastic piece in the front right here. Right there. That's your guide rod. There is a spring that sits inside of this. And that's what cycles your slide when you pull the trigger. So when you shoot, bang, the slide comes back on that spring, then it reaches its point of no more stretch, and then it goes back forward. That's what cycles your slide and makes it semi-automatic. But this thing is just cool, and I have it because I've always wanted a 45. The gun is not loaded. It just has a hot mag. I would use this in a defensive situation if I had someone with me here that needed a handgun. I would let them take the 19 if they've never shot one, and I would take this. Or if they had some experience, I'd let them take this, and I take the 19. Not to say, once again, that I'm going to just shoot someone that comes in here. Me and my friend aren't just going to go out and shoot somebody or anything like that. It is a only if necessary. So in a defensive situation, if you can defuse a situation without resorting to having to shoot someone, that's the best course of action you can take. Sometimes you won't have to shoot them, just enough of introducing your firearm and giving the attitude that I'm going to shoot is usually enough that you might defuse the situation right then, and no further issue will occur. Although, if someone is hopped up on drugs and they're determined to take you for everything you have because they need money to get their fix, you may have to squeeze the trigger on this or any handgun you carry. But always remember, man, that is a last resort. Absolute last. That's my school of thought on it too, man. I hope I never have to shoot any of these at anybody. Because, that's another thing about gun ownership, man. Owning a gun is a major responsibility. And before you go to a gun store and say, I'm going to buy me a handgun for defense, you need to think about, could you take another human life if necessary? Because if you can't do that, maybe you don't need a gun for defense. Maybe you just get you one to shoot around with. And one other thing that people love to argue about for hours, months, days, years. Carrying a gun with a round in the chamber versus just a loaded mag, which is empty chamber. I've heard many schools of thought on that. Some people will tell you, don't ever carry with a round in the chamber because, you might slip up, hit the trigger, and bang. Or you should only carry with a round in the chamber, full mag. But think about that for a minute. If you have an attacker that's coming at you and they want what you have, or They're determined to kill you. Are you really going to have time to draw your firearm, grab this slide, pull it back and let go, point and shoot? Are you really going to have time to do all that before he gets you? Probably not. But if you have a round in the chamber ready to go, all you have to do is come out of your holster, straight at him, and bang. You can stop the threat. And many people, man, there are many snobs out here that think if you don't carry around in the chamber, you shouldn't own a gun, you're stupid, you're going to get someone killed. But I say, really, it's subjective. You can train yourself with a firearm to be able to go through those steps to chamber around that fast and shoot if you need to. It's going to take a little work, but we have here in my state, in every state, some states even require this. They want you to, when you purchase your first firearm, like a pistol, they want you to go and take some classes on your firearm. And it's called concealed carry class. And they teach you how to properly load your rounds, your firearm, how to properly unload, how to do your sights, proper trigger pull, trigger control, and then the different ways of carrying, how to draw from your holster. And then there's a loads of other things they teach you in that class, and it can really help. It really can. So that might be a good idea for you new gun owners out there that are just getting into it. Try to take you some classes on your firearm so you can learn and be ready if need be. But remember, it's only if necessary. One other thing too, if you have to defend yourself with a firearm, in my state, we have what's called the stand your ground law, which means you can use your firearm with deadly force if necessary in your house or anywhere else that you are legally able to be, and nothing will be done. But there's a little bit of red tape there. If you use your firearm in a defensive situation here in my state, you're still going to be charged with murder. You're still going to jail. They're going to charge you with murder. You're going to have to go to court in front of a judge, and you're going to have to convince that judge that you were justified in the use of this firearm. Like, the person that I stopped was going to take my life. I felt, what is it called? Frightened for my life, So I felt I used the necessary force to stop the threat. But you're still going to be charged with it. Oh yeah, another thing about carry. In my state, which is kind of interesting, I don't know about the rest of the states, but you can have this in your car, and you can have it in your car. The cops pull you over. Your car is considered an extension of your home. So you can legally have it in your car as long as it's in plain sight where they can see it. If you have it up under your seat and one of those officers catches a glimpse of that firearm, but they didn't see it right away, they'll draw their guns on you and you'll be in trouble. But man, this thing's just cool. That's just some more information about my state. The finish on this is Tenifer. That's what it's called. And this gun is probably maybe 90s, if I had to guess. And it looks brand new. I mean, it looks like it's never... Well, yeah, there's a little spot on the top of the barrel here. This is your barrel. And it runs on through into your slide here. And you see this weird discoloration right here on the end, on the edge? That's from it scrubbing against the top of that slide when you shoot. It's called wear marks, and that's going to happen to every firearm you shoot. There was something else, man, that I had to talk about, and I can't freaking remember it. man, the trigger guard right here is the same on every Glock. Okay, yes, one other thing. When you are firing this gun, that I forgot to mention, other than the thumb thing about it cutting your thumb off with this slide coming back with massive speed and force, you can also have it up like this. Have your finger on the slide right here. And when you shoot, this edge of the slide right there is going to cut you good. And then if you're too far up on here somehow, and the bottom of this slide piece right there hits you right here in your wrist, that's called slide bite. And boy, that hurts. It's painful. It draws blood. It sucks. There is a proper way to hold a Glock. I can't demonstrate it because I've only got one hand. But what you would do is do like that with this hand. This is your, if you're right-handed, this would be your strong hand. You'll push forward like that. Your left hand here will come around the front of your fingers. You'll lock your fingers together, put your thumbs right on top of each other, and then push forward with this hand, pull back with your left hand into this hand. That's the proper combat grip for handguns. That's how the military does it. But I wanted to show this one because it's cool, very sought after. People want these. And then the Gen 1 Glock, the original Glock from the 80s, the 86 to I think 90 is when they did the Gen 2. Collectors really want those guns, and they will pay a pretty penny for one in good condition. So, thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. The 45 is a massive round. It really gets down when it comes out of the muzzle. See, like the 9mm goes, I think, at like 1,300 feet per second. This one, when it comes out of the end of the muzzle here, it's only moving about 800 feet per second. So it's really slow. That's pretty slow. That big old 230 grain piece of lead coming at you, it's going to do some damage when it hits. And a lot of people come into a gun store and they want to get a 9 or they want a 45 like this. This just happened to my friend the other day. She wanted to get a Glock 45. And a guy behind the counter was talking to her about the 45 and the ballistics, what the round will do when it hits something. And he had her pretty well like, man, I want that. And then he walks off to help another customer while she's looking this over. You know, it's not this one, but one like it. And a lady comes over that works there, starts talking to her and asking her questions about carry. Well, that's probably too big for you to carry. You need to buy this Glock 43X, little bitty small, 6-round, 9mm. Talked her completely out of purchasing the 45 that she really wanted. When you go into a gun store with anybody to buy a gun, and they're talking to the people, let them do the talking. And don't be standing over here answering questions that she has for the person, or she or he has for the person behind the counter. That really gets on their nerves. And when you go into gun stores with a firearm on you, they have signs up that says keep it in your pants. Don't pull it out in front of the counter here, you know, and be like, hey, I want to pawn this, or hey, I want to pawn that. You're liable to get shot because most people that work in a gun store, they carry in there for the event of a robbery. So there's some more information. But man, I thank you guys for watching this. This gun is really cool. Can't believe I have it. I need to get this thing out and shoot a little bit. I'll try to get some shooting videos up at some point if I can just get help filming it. This is exactly how it came when I got it. You can modify these and mess with this trigger pound pull and do all kinds of things inside of this slide and inside of this frame. But I don't ever recommend doing that, even though I did modify my Remington 870 with a mag extension, which isn't anything major. That just helps to hold more rounds. It does not mess with how the gun functions inside. Leave these things exactly as Glock intends them to be, because it will void your warranty if you don't, and it can cause you to have problems that you never would have had before. So, thanks for watching. Please subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and if you don't like it, that's okay too. You know, not everybody's into the firearm thing. We all have our opinions, guys. So, everyone take care out there.